After being betrayed by her husband, a disabled woman went through another terrible accident, but it changed everything. Years later, she saw her ex begging for money, and she had an important decision to make. "I can't do this anymore, Paige. This is not what I signed up for," Morgan said after they parked in front of her countryside house. "What?" Paige asked, shocked. For years, I did everything for you. I supported your music career. I supported us through everything. Hell, you didn't have to cook or clean for 1 minute here. You didn't have to move a finger. I was the best wife in the world. And now that I need you, you're leaving?" Before we continue, please take some time to subscribe to Dailydose, like and share this video with your friends. It might brighten their day and inspire them to do good. Also, keep watching because an important lesson awaits at the end of the video. "I'm sorry," Morgan said, looking down. He got out of the car, arranged her wheelchair, and got her out of the vehicle against her wishes. Paige yelled and flailed her arms to no avail. She couldn't move well anymore. Afterward, he rolled her out the front door of the house and took some of her bags from his car, which she had no idea he had packed. Paige cried and begged and pleaded through the entire situation. But Morgan ignored her and didn't speak until he was done. "I'm a musician, Paige. I'm not cut out for this," he said, got in his car, and left. A week later, she received his filing for divorce and thought that life couldn't get any worse. They had met a few years earlier when Morgan's band played at the restaurant Paige used to manage. She had been smart with money all of her life and had 2 houses, one in the city and one in the countryside for summer vacations. She also had decent savings. Paige fell in love with the sexy musician right away and got married quickly, promising to be the best wife. She was. She did everything for him, paid for everything, told him he was talented, and much more. However, things turned sour when she suffered a heart attack from stress and too much work. She lost most of her mobility and was supposed to get help from Morgan. He needed to help her walk around their home daily and drive her to physical therapy. He did that for a week and then dumped her in the countryside house. She had no idea how she would ever recover. Paige was more resilient than she initially thought. She started taking the local train to her physical therapy in the city, and the people in the country were friendly enough to help her get in and out. Eventually, she had more mobility but still needed her wheelchair. However, one day she dropped her purse on the road on her way to the train stop and tried her best to get up to pick it up. She used her wheelchair as she tried to find the strength in her legs to get up and reach for her purse. But she didn't see the car that approached. She only heard the quick brake sounds, but the vehicle couldn't stop quickly enough, and her shoulder took the brunt of the impact. "Jesus, ma'am, are you all right? I'm sorry. I didn't see you until it was too late. Oh my God, I'm calling 911. A man reached her side and spoke way too quickly for her rattled senses, but she nodded, hoping to get to the hospital soon. Luckily, the doctors told her that her legs were not affected, and the impact was not too bad. It would only leave some bruising. However, Paige still lamented the fact that she had no luck at all. Every day seemed to add more bad accidents and crazy situations to her life, which wasn't fair. "Ma'am, are you all right? What did the doctors say?" someone said from the hospital room door. Paige squinted and recognized the man who had hit her. He was holding flowers and balloons from the gift shop. He entered her room with a sheepish and apologetic look, sitting beside her bed and introducing himself as Tyler. They talked for hours, and he apologized a million times. Paige thought he was funny and sweet, but didn't think he would be in her life much longer. She was wrong. Tyler came over every day until she was discharged and drove her home. He kept visiting and eventually asked her out. Years later, they got married. Tyler lived by her countryside house, but he had a mansion and a huge business that required him to go into the city often. Paige moved in with him, and he would drive her to physical therapy and pick her up or hire someone to do so. Eventually, she regained most of her mobility, although she sometimes had to use a cane when tired. Still, it was nice to regain her independence, and she went back to work at the restaurant, which she quit a while ago because she couldn't work after her accident. However, Tyler bought her a fancy SUV, specially made for people with disabilities. so that she would always be safe. One day, she parked in front of the restaurant, and someone startled her. "Please, lady, give me $1 for food," the man asked, pushing his hand into her face. Paige looked up, recognizing the voice. She would know that baritone anywhere. "Morgan?" she said, confused. "What? How?" "Paige, you're walking," Morgan said, lowering his hand and trying to fix his hair. He looked terrible. His eyes were dark, dilated as if, well, he looked bad. Suddenly, he started begging and pleading. His life had been hell after he left her. He sold her house after the divorce, which she had agreed to give him as long as he didn't want anything else from her, and spent all that money drinking and partying. Additionally, the restaurant workers, who were still loyal to Paige even when she couldn't work, spread the word that he had done something terrible to her. So, no one wanted to hire his band around the city, making his problems even worse. Eventually, he was kicked out of the band and had no one to turn to. He had been homeless for months because his parents refused to help him. "Paige, please help me. I'm so sorry for what I did. I know I don't deserve your help, but please, please." Morgan broke down and kneeled in front of her in the middle of the street. Paige looked down at him and thought, "This is it. This is my chance for revenge." But she wasn't that kind of person. She helped him up and took him inside the restaurant. "I can give you daily work, cleaning the dishes," Paige offered him after giving him water and food. "If you prove you're a hard worker, we can talk about your playing guitar and singing again. But you can't look like that." Morgan cried again. "Thank you. Thank you," he said, swallowing his food like a ravenous animal. Everyone thought Paige was too soft for forgiving the man who had betrayed her, but Tyler understood. "You're a miracle, Paige. That's why I love you," he said that night when she told him everything. At the end of the day, Morgan's horrible actions had led her to Tyler, so he had done her a favor.